Well, good Tuesday morning to you, and welcome out near Grand Island, Nebraska, as we get set for day number one of Husker Harvest Days. I'm Bryce Duskett. This morning, joined by Susan Littlefield, as we get ready for another year of the big show and, of course, the Sunrise Report.
It's going to be a beautiful day out here, which we'll find out weather-wise in a little bit. But I have not seen a show have as much hustle and bustle as it did yesterday with folks setting up. It was crazy how busy it was.
Hustle and bustle. Of course, our viewers this morning on the Sunrise Report can likely see that behind us as exhibitors are making their way in before the show will open up later this morning and putting those final touches on the booth. That's always important. Kind of shine things up a little bit and kick the tires, make sure everything looks good.
Oh, yeah. I saw a few guys out there polishing some tractors and spit shining, shall we say. So we're going to be ready to go when it officially opens.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a lot coming up here on the Sunrise Report. We sure appreciate you joining us wherever you might be. We do invite you to chime in on the comment section if you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube, and let us know if you're coming out to this year's Husker Harvest Days. So be sure to do that there in the comment section. Coming up on today's show, we'll have a weather update. Of course, Bill Boyer will join us to talk about what we're expecting when it comes to weather out here. I think you might have some good stuff. As you mentioned, maybe no rain this year. That'd be nice.
That'll be nice. The rain is always a good thing. Let's just hold off during the show, give folks time to come on out, kind of spend that last minute team building, as Matt Youngman likes to call it, with your harvest crew before you get really into the earnest of harvest.
We will also hear from the folks at the Nebraska Farm Bureau as they proudly present this year's Sunrise Report. We appreciate them joining us, and we'll give you a tour of their booth a little bit later in the program. But let's start it off with Matt Youngman. We've referenced him. He is the show manager. And yesterday, Susan had the chance to catch up with him to learn all about this year's Husker Harvest Days.
Better than being back together at Husker Harvest Days. Day one is underway, and when you arrive at the show, you're going to be surprised. We have got 70 new exhibitors, and who knows, there might even be 71. Matt Youngman joins us now, and Matt, I tell you, it's always exciting to be back again for Husker Harvest Days, but pretty cool that the show just continues to grow and grow.
It does. You know, that exhibitor list just continues to grow. You know, we had about 550 last year, and now we're up over that 600 mark, and it's really exciting to see the energy behind the show, and it's all new ideas. You've got a brand new seed company like Beck's making a big splash here in Nebraska, so we're really excited about everything. The exhibitors just kept coming in. Yesterday, the day before the show, we even filled one more spot there in the exhibit field. So it's been a tremendous turnout from the exhibitor front.
And a little bit of a different layout that's happening here at the show. So when folks, it's really important for them to have that app.
Yep.
And kind of plan their way, because folks might not be in the same spot they were last year.
Yeah, some of your old friends are in new places. You know, with New Holland moving over next to Case IH, and then Beck's coming in and taking over some of the New Holland space, and Raven moving in there. And to speaking of Raven, we have all the Raven autonomous machinery running all day today and all day, all 3 days. That's just really cool with their brand new autonomous fertilizer spreader running. That was just unveiled recently, and so super exciting to see all the new cool stuff on display here.
So what do you look forward to as this show gets underway for a 3-day run?
Well, you know, it's a Nebraska tradition, Husker Harvest Days, and you know, these 3 days where folks can come out and take one last break before they go off to harvest, and you know, you can kind of just see and feel all the family reunions and friendships and handshakes that are going on. And after, you know, we're still coming out of that COVID hangover, but you know, looking forward to great crowds. We've got great weather for the 3 days of the show, and so just excited about all the potential.
As we wrap this up, I want to say something exciting. You do have a gentleman that has come back. There was a scheduling conflict and he wasn't here last year. Yep. But there's going to be a chance to watch some wild horses get tamed.
That's exactly right. Ron Knodl's here. You know, you have the wild horse gentling and the stock dog demos, the harvest, tillage, autonomy, strip till, haying demonstrations, cattle handling demonstrations. There's just activity all over the show site.
All right, thanks so much. Matt Youngman's been joining us, and we'll be back with more on the Sunrise Report. Well, you know, I tell you, I think we need to take some time and go over there and watch Ron work with these horses. I mean, he's bringing in wild horses from the Bureau of Land Management, and by the end of his event, he's got them walking on a lead. It's pretty cool if you haven't had a chance to see it.
Well, the thing is, out here at Husker Harvest Days, of course, there are plenty of booths to walk through. You've got, feels like miles worth of booths, and your feet will definitely feel it at the end of the day. You have that element of it, but you can sit down and enjoy some of those shows, those demonstrations. Plus, don't forget the field demonstrations. That's a big deal out here at Husker Harvest Days.
It is, you know, and I think the fact that he said the moisture, I think, was 20% right now for this corn coming out of the field. So that's going to be absolutely perfect for that. Lots of education. And yes, we will write your kid a note if you want to get them out of school today, because this is not a skip school day. This is an educational thing. If you're coming to Husker Harvest Days.
Yeah, I remember that. We were talking about this yesterday. If your parents let you skip school or not to come out to Husker Harvest Days, one of our producers this morning, Rebel, said her dad did or her family did, and I have that same experience. So I appreciate that from my childhood, being able to come out to Husker Harvest Days. We appreciate you joining us here on the Sunrise Report, which is presented by the Nebraska Farm Bureau. And it is now time to check in on weather to hear the latest from Bill Boyer. Bill, we'll send it over to you.
Thanks, guys. We'll start off with our weather headlines. It's going to be a warm but very nice day coming our way today. Really, most of Husker Harvest Days looks pretty nice out there. We've had a lot worse, certainly, and this Husker Harvest Day is going to turn out to be pretty decent. Now, there will be some breezy conditions, I think, tomorrow at times, and some isolated storms, maybe slightly better chance of storms on Thursday. Still, things look very scattered to isolated at best. Temperatures across the Cornhusker State range mostly in the 50s in the eastern half of the state, some upper 40s in the western half. And right in the middle here in our area, as you could see, most of us hovering around that low to mid 50s as we get ready to start Husker Harvest Days number 1 today. Very, very nice out there. Really no major concerns today coming at all. In fact, we're going to have sunshine, maybe the sunscreen. That might be the first thing you want to make sure you're packing, is you're going to need it today, is we're going to have lots of sun out there. By lunchtime, temperature is probably going to be into the low 80s, upper 80s as we go through the afternoon and get into the warmest part of the day, and winds should be under 10 to 15 miles an hour. Let's put Futurecast in motion as we go through the day today, through the morning hours, and as we get to lunchtime. Sunshine going to be all out there across the region. As we get to the end of the day today and into the evening hours, still going to be sunny to clear here in our area. Some clouds approach from the west. They're going to be confined mainly to the Panhandle and west central portions of Nebraska through sunrise tomorrow. By the time we get to this program tomorrow, again, another sunny day. Now, by lunchtime, we'll start to see the clouds come in tomorrow from the west. Again, some breezier conditions. And then as we go into tomorrow, late in the day, in the early evening hours, you'll see Futurecast showing a few isolated to scattered thunderstorms here across our area. Not everybody's going to get them, but ultimately where those showers and thunderstorms end up is something we're going to have to pay close attention to and see where that broken line of showers and storms ultimately shows up at. Temperatures today going to be warm out there across the region. How about near 90 across the area? Tonight, our lows going to be hovering down around 60, so not quite as cool tonight to start the show tomorrow. And we're going to end up right with another day near 90 degrees out there. And then I think we'll drop back a couple of degrees for the last day of Husker Harvest Days, probably into the upper 80s on Thursday. And again, a slightly better chance of some showers and storms, and it will be breezy at times tomorrow. So that's certainly something to pay attention to. Otherwise, this 7-day forecast is warm, above normal, and generally dry, again, outside of an isolated hit or miss shower or storm.
Thank you very much for that weather forecast, Bill. Maybe bring your sunscreen. That's the message from Bill this morning. I don't know how I feel about that. It's mid-September, but we'll take the warm weather while we still have it.
And it's not a ponytail alert day
No,
today.
it's not.
So you're going to be good to go, ladies and gentlemen alike. You know, you won't have to worry about tying the hair back.
Don't have to worry about ponytails here.
No, not at all.
We did have a question that came in. You can see it here on our Facebook and YouTube channels. If you have any questions, feel free to add them in the comment section. We'll address this one. We had a question about the cost to get in. Susan, we had to look this one up. We didn't remember it on the top of our heads, but it looks like registration, or I should say admission is $15 for adults. Can't speak this morning. They are $10 in advance. So if you'd like to buy those tickets online, I believe you can still do so ahead of the show, and they're just $10. 12 and under do get in for free. I mentioned I was able to come out as a kid. Maybe that's why I was able to get in for free.
Maybe Dad took care of it. But the nice thing about doing it online, then you're not waiting in line to make your ticket purchase. So just head over to the Husker Harvest Days website and get it taken care of.
Appreciate that question. Again, if you have it, feel free to chime in there in the comment section. Also, let us know if you're coming out to this week's Husker Harvest Days. Feel free to drop the day that you're coming out. And we'll remind you now that it's a good time to swing by the Nebraska Rural Radio Association booth. You can find us on the Main Street at booth 50, we're actually right next to our presenting sponsor of the Sunrise Report. That's the Nebraska Farm Bureau.
And the Farm Bureau has a lot of unique things happening in their booth, a lot of educational stuff, not only from the political side, but all the way down to the farming and ranching side. And you might even get one of those cool farmer or rancher t-shirts. We're going to find out, Bryce, what you found out stopping at the booth right next door to us.
No trip to Husker Harvest Days is complete without a stop here at Booth 48. That's where you can find the folks from Nebraska Farm Bureau. Adam joins us now. Adam, from the get-go, you're giving things away.
Right, Bryce. So right away as you walk in the building here, we're using some of our member benefits to give away a couple generators and some pedal tractors, and then a Milwaukee tool set through Granger.
So that's just the beginning. As we walk around your booth, Adam, you've got the Nebraska Farm Bureau Foundation set up here. Lots of different people call your booth your booth home, right?
Right. So part of Farm Bureau is our foundation, and they're promoting the Growers Gala that they do every year in December. It's one of their major fundraisers to help egg in the classroom across the state.
And people want to know, are your gloves back this year, Adam? Do you have an answer for us?
Hot item here at Husker Harvest Days. The leather gloves for members is always a popular thing here. And so make sure you get here early so we make sure we get your size. But have your postcards ready and we'll get you a free pair of gloves.
All right, so people can get those free pair of gloves. You're also known for ice cone, or what do I call them?
Snow cones.
Snow cone. I want to call them ice cones for some
Right,
reason.
snow cones. No, the biggest hit, it's going to be warm this week, and so snow cones is probably one of the hottest things out here. I guess hottest things out here. But for anybody and everybody, we want to invite you in the building and get you a free snow cone. We've got a few different flavors and cool off.
We're just scratching the surface of things you can do out here. Again, at Booth 48 is where you can find the Nebraska Farm Bureau. Come on out to Husker Harvest Days and check out their booth.
I tell you, work gloves and snow cones. Can life get any better?
I don't know why I couldn't remember the name of the cone there. I was trying to call it an ice cone.
Well, maybe it's because of where you grew up. Maybe they call it, like a bubbler or a water fountain. It's just, it depends on where you live.
Yeah, there's lots of ways you can call those snow cones, but you're going to want to make sure you stop by their booth right next to where you can find us at Booth 48. That's where the Nebraska Farm Bureau is, and always a lot to see in their booth.
There's
for sure
so much to see, so much to do, and of course, take the time to stop and maybe educate yourself a little bit more about some things that are happening in agriculture that you might not have known from a political side.
Absolutely. Well, right now on the screen, you can see an overhead view, a bird's eye view of the show grounds. This footage was taken yesterday afternoon as those exhibitors are making their final preparations to welcome everybody out to the show this week. And it's always fun to see that drone footage and gives you the size and scope of this show.
It is a huge show, and what makes it so unique is the fact that it is paved. But what's even cooler is the gravel has been taken care of. The gravel had a soy-based put on it, about 2 weeks ago or so, to help keep the dust down. So it's kind of cool, a unique way of utilizing, Nebraska agriculture.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I know the Nebraska Soybean Board was involved with that. The product they call it Dust Lock. So a kind of fun thing you can see if it's working. I guess it's good if we can keep that dust under control. Well, coming up here, Rebel is joining us. She brings us today's breakfast item. We actually, Susan, do not know what we have in front of us right now.
I do not know either.
We'll see. I'll give you one of these, and I will grab one as well. We'll see if we can get a camera zoomed in, maybe.
Here.
It appears we have a breakfast burrito of sorts. Let's see. Rebel's going to zoom in for us, and you can see our breakfast burrito. Barb is always there to help us, and she goes and fetches a food item for us where we can share with you a little bit about the food vendor. Barb's talking at the moment. So
I think this came from the Hula Hut.
Is it a Hula Hut?
From the Hula Hut.
Yep, confirmed from the Hula Hut.
And what I think is so unique about this is all the food, all the vendors that you stop at are a nonprofit organizational base. So they are here raising funds, more than likely for their school. And it's always great food and a great variety. And I think that's a little different than the burritos we had last year.
All right, you go ahead and take a bite there. I'm trying to figure out how I get it out of the wrapping, but no doubt it will be good.
It almost looks like lefse, but I know it's not lefse.
I don't know what in the world lefse is. Is that a Minnesota thing, Susan?
Yes, lefse is a Minnesota thing.
We can't have a broadcast without mentioning something about Minnesota.
Well, Chad Moyer would be very disappointed if I let him down.
Speaking of Chad Moyer, he walked in a few seconds ago. Our colleague Clay Patton also walking in. You can stop by and see the whole crew out here. Again, you can find the Nebraska Rural Radio Association team at Booth 50. How is it, Susan?
It is excellent. It is full of flavor, and it is cheesy, and it's like perfect. It's a good filler to get you started on your day at Husker Harvest Days. What do you think?
I can't talk. My mouth is full. That is a delicious breakfast burrito. You can find those at the Hula Hut.
I'm stealing a napkin.
Good way to start the day, no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah, very good. And we got coffee on.
Got
We've had
coffee?
folks stopping already this morning to get some coffee here at our booth. And we got a lot of things that are going to be happening today. You can stop and see Clay do markets. We're going to have market seminars taking place throughout the day. So come on in. Make sure you stop and say hi. And we have peanuts.
The peanuts.
Roasted fresh peanuts. So stop on by and get those.
Thank you for joining us this morning on the Sunrise Report. We thank the Nebraska Farm Bureau for being our presenting sponsor and look forward to seeing you out here at the show.